The first time the full human genome was ever sequenced was back in 2001. It took 15 years and cost $2.7 billion. Today it takes about $500 and around 2 weeks of time. You can see on this chart right here is the current depreciating price of how much it costs to sequence a human genome compared to Moore's law, which is generally accepted as the lower bound of how quickly technology can cause the price of something to depreciate. TVs are the perfect example of this. The longer we've had TVs, the cheaper they've become. It's technological innovation at its finest, and you can see right now that the cost to sequence a human genome is breaking Moore's law, which is why I'm paying so close attention to Genomes DAO, Genomes.io. What they're currently doing is similar to 23andMe, only on steroids, where 23andMe will sequence about 0.1% of your full genome and give you just like a little bit of your ancestry. Genomes DAO is sequencing roughly 90 to 95% of your entire genome and giving you medical data. They're giving you, yes, of course, your ancestry, but they're also able to predict certain diseases based off of genetic marks that you might have. And they're using this research, this information, and allowing you to profit and monetize off of data that otherwise would just be taken from you, like in the case of 23andMe, and sold to pharmaceutical companies for a profit on their end. They're giving you sovereignty over your genomes. That was the intro. Welcome into the video. We're going to go over Genomes DAO and some of the new innovations and new press releases that they've recently put out. It's been quite some time since I've actually talked about Genomes DAO, and it's exciting for me to see that they're continuing to innovate and push the envelope when it comes to what's possible within decentralized science. If you're a fan of decentralized science, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, because I talk about decentralized science probably more than anyone else on the entire internet right now. They'll catch up eventually. But I had 6 months ago, a little self-shill, I did an interview with the current CEO of Genomes DAO. Don't want to play it right now, but it was a very good interview. I recommend you go watch it if you're curious. However, it was 6 months ago and quite a few things have changed. So let's go ahead and get right into what's going on in the world of Genomes DAO. So everything I just explained, they believe that you should own your own genome, so they built Genomes.io. I think I can see how much it's going to cost to actually get sequenced by them. It's pretty cheap, and actually you're able to earn more than what it costs on a long enough time frame because of how many opportunities they have for you to sell some of your data. And very briefly, what they do is take your data and put it into a vault, which is secured by the blockchain, but only you with private keys are allowed to have access to it. And what you can do is give little like access codes for small snippets of the data that's required for different studies. So different biotech companies can come access or request access to your genome to be included in a giant study, and they'll pay you for it. That's the thesis behind this in a nutshell. And they're actually doing a really good job at it. I think I might have to reach out to them and see if I can get a kit or just get my hands on a kit to do a more in-depth explanation and kind of give you guys an idea of what the back end of everything looks like and what it looks like to be a customer or a profiter from this little ecosystem they've created. But today we're going to go over a couple of the press releases and then some qualms I have with the token that we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Just make sure you stick around for a minute. So Genomes DAO, they got 17.8K followers on X, which is fantastic. It's a small space that is D-size, so 17.8K is actually a good following, and their engagement's pretty damn high. They've been doing a lot. They're very, very active on social media. They were actually one of the first DeSci projects to have consistent X spaces, so you can go and get daily or weekly updates with them and make sure that you have your thumb on what's going on in their ecosystem and everything. But what I want to draw your attention to is 3 days ago and yesterday, or today, just a few hours ago, they released 2 different articles explaining how they've been able to put together health reports on both asthma, hay fever, eczema, and IBS, which is really cool to see that they're not just collecting data, but they're actually implementing what they're collecting. So it's just progress, right? We're just trying to see progress. Keep going, keep going, keep going. What else is going to make it so that people see that there's real world activity happening within all of these different projects? So they've been able to put out something, like I said, on asthma, hay fever, and eczema as it pertains to the human genome, which is very exciting for me to see. So all three of these conditions show different symptoms: allergic asthma, hay fever, and eczema, which is pretty exciting to see that they're making connections to the genome based off of these things. As someone who grew up with sports-induced asthma, it's nice to see that they're finding genetic links and potential inflammation responses in the body that can kind of give insight. One thing that was actually really cool for asthma specific, and I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but when I was in school learning about nutrition, one of my professors was actually the person who pointed it out to the FDA that it's possible that asthma is linked to too many baby formulas having iron supplements in them, because the iron is what's in your blood that connects to the oxygen so that you can transfer oxygen throughout your body. And by almost introducing a level of toxicity in the blood based off the iron supplements that are in every single baby product that they consume, it was linked to a correlation to an increase in asthma in young children. So very fascinating, going off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just cool that they're actually implementing and seeing new articles being posted by Genomes DAO. So IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, is a common gastrointestinal disorder characterized by chronic abdominal pain, bloating, and altered bowel habits. I don't want to talk about bowel movements too much, but it's, again, this is just to outline that they are in fact posting things. You should probably follow them if you want to keep up to date on some of the research that they're posting out there. And this is a call to, realistically, anyone who has a project in DeSci, any founder or anyone who wants to get involved with different data sets of patients and stuff, go reach out to Genomes DAO, because they have an egregious amount of data that they've collected off of the people that have submitted and gotten their sequencing kits. Now, as I explained in the beginning, Genomes DAO does not own the data, the individuals do, but they have a dashboard which enables you to gain access to key insights into the data if the patients or the individuals like you and I permit it. So very, very cool, very exciting. One thing that and I know you will find very exciting as well, is the fact that they recently, Genomes DAO, secured an investment from Pantera Capital and Modular Capital. So I tried to dig deep to figure out how much money they actually raised from this round, but it was not released to the public, and I couldn't find with my little internet sleuthing exactly how much money was raised. So just know that they raised a good chunk of money here. And I say a good chunk of money because in total they've raised $21.6 million. Now this is over several rounds and many years of raising, so I doubt they have all of that anymore. But I would venture to say that the raise they just did back in July, or June rather, was a couple $1 million at least. So successfully completed a new investment round. This round was led by industry giants, Pantera Capital and Modular Capital, marking a significant milestone in the company's journey to transform the genomics landscape, revolutionizing genomic data storage, accelerating development with new funds, and strategic partnerships and industry support. So when you raise money, you're doing two things. One, you're getting some money so you can continue to have runway, especially if you're not profitable. But two, did you guys catch that little whistle? That was pretty rough, but I'm going to leave it in there. Two is the connections and the partnerships that open because you're now working with or accepting guidance from these investment funds. So these investment funds here have access to a large network of people who they've also put money into their companies with, or just are connected somehow. So when you raise money, it's not just the money, it's the connections that are valuable. So now Genomes DAO, I wouldn't be surprised to see in the near future some pretty big partnerships being announced by them, just because of the intros that are coming from these two VC funds. It's good. It's good. It's literally just Genomes DAO continuing to get market share and gain control. Now, the next thing I want to point out for you guys is you can come to snapshot.org and see, because Genomes DAO is a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, you can actually vote on what happens to some of these funds or what happens to the actual underlying platform and how they manage everything. So right now there is a proposal going to see if they want to continue using the Genomes DAO Discord. 98% of people are saying yes, shut the Discord down, which means you won't be able to use the Discord anymore, because this is probably going to go through as they're going to be shutting down the Discord. It ended 3 months ago, actually, so they already shut down the Discord. I misspoke there. They already shut down the Discord. It's interesting to me that it is 98% of people saying to shut the Discord down. What this points out to me, and this is no fault of Genomes DAO, what I'm about to say, this is just a character trait of most of the DAOs in existence, because they all start out very centralized, and over time, they become more and more decentralized. But the fact that 98% of people voted to say shut the Discord down and only 2% said to keep the Discord tells me that likely the insiders or the people at the company just didn't want to use the Discord anymore. And so they all came in and voted to shut the Discord down. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on it, my opinion on it. I could be totally wrong, but that's what I think probably happened there. It's cool to see, though, on most everything else, they have solid just user activity or token holder activity. So anyone who's holding the Genomes token has the opportunity to vote and actually have a voice in what happens to the company. Now, it's different than a security, and I don't want to go through the entire DAO mechanism here, but you don't own anything. You just have the ability to vote on the direction that it goes. So you could vote for shutting down the Discord or a token transfer from one chain to another, which is something that happened not too long ago. I think, let me see if this is on Max. So back in April, I believe, they segued from one chain to another. They actually updated the entire token. So it used to just be Gene, the token ticker Gene. Now it's ticker Genome. This is a pet peeve of mine that I really don't like when projects do this, because it gets very confusing for people who are not on the team. What do I mean by that? If you're not paying attention to Genomes DAO every single day or every single week, maybe, you're going to end up missing this event happening, and it opens the door for a lot of scammers to come in and create faulty tokens and get people just missing out. It's not necessarily a bad thing for projects to do this, but it definitely isn't a great thing in my opinion. I could be wrong, and I'm sure they have a good reason for doing it, but this is the old token. So the old token is now, it's still tradable. You can still go buy it, which means people are still going and buying this token. People are selling it. People don't know what happened. People think they're just down a crap ton of money, when in reality, they're not. Reality is that the market cap's still $7.2 million, but if you came without knowing that, you would see $157,000 and just assume that you had a rug pull, basically, and that the token's not worth anything anymore. But that's not the case. You just need to go transfer it over to the new token, which they make pretty simple. And if you haven't done that, you probably should go sleuthing and figure out how to do that. But you see how it gets sticky. You see how it gets kind of annoying, especially knowing that Genomes DAO is not just on Base or Ethereum, but they're also on Arbitrum. They're also on Polygon. So they have a ton of different token contracts out there, which just confuses the hell out of people. So that's my little critique there for anything, if it's worth anything to any of you guys watching. The other thing is I don't even think that these two tokens are valid anymore. I think because GNOME is not valid, I don't think anymore. And Gene is not valid, I don't think anymore. It's literally just Genome now. And unfortunately, when you click on their link tree, you still get blog posts about the two old tokens on Arbitrum and Polygon. And if I had to take any guesses here, looking at their profile here on X, they have Genome build on Base. So I'm assuming just the Base contract is the real one now. You know, you see how confusing this can get? The pool on Aerodome. You can stake and earn rewards, so that could be a potential for one of you guys to stake and earn rewards in the LP. But the token price right now is $7.2 million. I do think that this is an undervalued project. I personally see this as a multi-billion-dollar opportunity that just needs to be realized over the coming years. So as things like the 23andMe hack, where literally millions of users got their genetic information stolen and sold on the black market, I had a TikTok video go super viral on this. as you continue to see stuff like that happen, which will happen, people will look for a more secure alternative and realize that, hey, not only is this a more secure version than 23andMe, it sequences more of the genome, and I can actually own it and make money off of it rather than just pay to get a little bit of insight and put myself at risk for literally the most personal data that you could possibly create in the world. Yeah, so I think the opportunity for Genomes DAO is enormous. I would just like to see them be more clear with the tokenomics. Way more clear with which token contracts are valid, where you can go to find out more information. Because if you even go to the white paper and you click on the tokenomics, you don't get anything. They don't have anything. So, and this was updated 4 months ago, so go update it again. Put the information on the white paper, please. It would make it just way easier for people to not get confused. Maybe the white paper is even outdated now and I can't find the original one, but I went through the website to find this and I don't think it is outdated, but just get a little bit more cohesive with the tokenomics. Once that happens, I think we see a lot of upside potential for the token itself. This is not investment advice for you guys. This isn't just my opinion on everything. Again, the DAO token is not related or ownership in the actual company. So the actual company could succeed massively and the token itself may or may not succeed massively. I think that they'll be very correlated, but not an exact one-to-one. So as you can see, Genomes DAO continuing to raise more funds and continuing to generate a profit through the sale of these testing kits. I think that we'll see the overall use cases and the overall holders and activity for the underlying token go up dramatically. A $7.1 million market cap, I think, is a disgustingly undervalued project. I don't know exactly how high it could go, but I'm mega bullish on DeSci, and so saying hundreds of millions of dollars is not that ludicrous for me. And from 7 million to 100 million is way more than a 10x, way more than 1,000%. So just my 2 cents. Genomes DAO, they're continuing to make progress. They're continuing to put themselves out there and continuing to not only build on the foundational level with the actual platform and the actual underlying product, but on a social level as well, and garnering more and more attention and making sure that they're actually putting out different partnerships and different articles for people to utilize in other facets. Your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this is worth investing it into, and I will see you guys in the next video.